Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with VH1's Couples Retreat Season 1, Episode 6. This is the season finale. All right, child, if you are here for the first time, then welcome. If you're back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Please do not hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. After listening to my content, if you enjoyed, I would love for you to become a member of the Opinionated family. All right, child, let's get into it if we're going to get into it. So the couples come in, they sit down for the final question. What are 3 favorite memories that they share? Okay, so Kirk said, number 1 was she stayed down, and then one day when she spent the night, she tried to make breakfast, honey, but she was a kid, so she probably was making Pop-Tarts and whatnot, allegedly. Delicious said Cancun, getting engaged, and getting married. Honey, I don't know what happened in Cancun, but baby, her and Raymond love Cancun, child. It must have been popping when they went down there. So then he got up to give her a kiss, right? She gonna say, is he allowed to do that? Child, let him kiss you, child, because we already know we having a little bit of an issue, so just let him get his physical touch on, okay? This is the last day. Okay, so we see Michael Blackson, right? And he's trying to learn how to swim. Now listen, don't feel bad, Michael, because I don't know how to swim either. And I ain't trying to learn. Okay, every time I get in some water, I just start hyperventilating and whatnot. So I just decided to make that into an opportunity to take Instagram photos, okay? I'm going to wear my 2-piece, sashay around, you know, hit my ankles, and then I'm going to go sit down and put my feet in the water and not my entire body. So I totally understand what you're going through, right? But you are flopping around like a flounder. So Yandy said, you're getting good. Just swim to this little, because she had a little pool noodle. She's like, just swim over here. Come on. Come on. Child, Michael ain't even moving. He just flapping his feet around, okay? Then his little glasses come off and he hand them to Mandisi. He looked like a little baby. So he trying to get over there. So then Yandy said, you got to get your stamina up. What she tell you last night? He was like, yeah, because, you know, I gave her 5 minutes and I was out. Michael, so you mean to tell me you hunching on all these women, these multiple women at one time for 5 minutes? Boy, if you don't quit playing in them sheets, I'm not, honey, I'm not about to play with you. I am not about to play. Anyway, over on the other side, Radha is talking to the ladies, right? And she said, I told him, you know, let's just try something different. No sex, just play with my nipples. Here go Rashida. He like that, he ain't like that, did he? I was like, T.I., what are you... She sounded just like T.I. to me. Not a child. Okay. Rashida, girl, what is going on? So Rashida was like, well, you know, I'm very happy because last night Kirk focused on me. And, you know, at first I was hesitant to even come on this trip. But since, you know, things went my way, honey, it's a win-win for us all. I'm like, oh, okay. Over with the guys. Kirk got a whole different story. Kirk was like, yeah, you know, Rashida was ready last night. And I was kind of scared. I was like, ooh, you know, I be scared. You know, you kind of get scared and nervous when they ready. I don't know what that feeling is. So then Raymond gonna say, well, you know, it's because they ready for you to perform. And, you know, you get a little nervous because it's like some pressure. Whole time Ray J sitting over there like, nah, I don't have those problems. I don't know what y'all talking about, okay? Ray J was sitting there like, I'm going to get mine in, honey. I'm going to turn her over to her side. See, the problem is y'all looking in their faces. If you do like me, turn her over, hit it from the back, then you won't be nervous. Honey, out of sight, out of mind. Honey, Ray J said, nah, I'm not scared at all. I'm perfectly okay. So then Ray J started saying, you know, we tried to put the little vibrator out and put it to use. We put it to use last night. No, Princess put it to use last night while you over there thanking the doctor on your little video cam. We would like to thank the doctor. Zzz, honey, Princess was already gone, child. So then they go back over to Yandy and Mandisi, and they're teaching Michael how to swim, right? So Yandy was like, you remember when we used to sleep like pretzels, but then when you came back, we didn't sleep like that no more. And she was like, but now that we've been here, now we're back to it. So as they're talking, here go Michael. I'm about to climb the tree. I'm about to climb the tree. He's standing in the background, right? They talking about, okay. And you know what that reminded me of? That reminded me of when grown people are trying to have a conversation and and the kids be talking in the middle of it. And you like, all right, baby, mama seen you. Okay, well, oh, yeah, okay, good. With grown people are talking. That's what it reminded me of. Michael was like that little kid. And they're having a grown folks conversation while he talking about he about to climb some trees. Child, if you don't just go. Oh my goodness. So that's that. Then we see Delicious, and she was like, you know what? My Ray J one wish would be for us to take home all these blessings, aka take home the sexuals of it all, honey. Let's see if Raymond can keep it up. So they're having one last meeting with AJ, right? So, couples have to go in, they have to sit down, and they have to talk to her. So Rashida was like, in her confessional, she said, I don't know if I want to renegotiate any part of our relationship, but there are some things that I hope that we keep up, right? Because that whole thing is a business deal, allegedly. So as they're coming in, Yandy and Mandisi come in first. And so AJ said, is there anything new or different? And Yandy tries to portray this perfection. That's my one thing that irks me about Yandy. I don't mind her, but I feel like sometimes she tries to put on. And I don't know if that's just me, but I oftentimes when I hear her talk, it doesn't seem genuine. It's like she's talking from a script. So she said, it's the little things for me. He was holding the door open. He took my hand. He guided me out. He was doing everything for me, and I just loved it. But baby Mandisi had a whole nother. He gonna tell the real, okay? So Mandisi was like, yeah, I was standing there like the bellhop. Y'all know he ain't say the bellhop, but what? I like to zhuzh it up. He was like holding the door, and she already knows that that's not my thing. And I was about to go to the car, but I didn't want to hear her fussing and arguing, so I just decided to stand there. But don't take advantage of me. She turning a 10-minute goodbye into an hour goodbye. And when he said that, it reminded me of, how when your parents, you go over to your cousin's house and there's like a little get together or whatever, you playing with your parents, playing with your cousins, and all of a sudden your parents like, all right, we're about to get ready to go. And you get in the car and they stand outside the car and say goodbye for like 15 minutes. They be like, yeah. Oh, so you talking about Ray little boy? He graduated. Yeah, he did graduate. Oh, yeah, I known him since he was young. That's the ones that live on the street, right? They started talking, so you think you can get out the car and play with your cousins one last time. Soon as you get out and start running around the car, here go the parents. Y'all get in, we finna go. Well, if we was finna go, honey, we've been in this car for 45 minutes. The windows are rolled up. It's hot. Well, we ready to go. So that's what it reminded me of when he said she takes an hour to say goodbye, and it should take 10 minutes, right? So Yandy in her confessional was like, oh my gosh, he's talking about the door. Like, I feel like he's kind of jealous of my attention. And so then AJ was like, Mandisi, was she bigger now or she's bigger since you've been out? And so he was like, well, she's bigger since I've been out. And she was like, well, I understand that because it feels like she's leaving you behind and you weren't there to actually be included in her getting bigger, right? So then AJ starts going on this tangent about how Mandisi needs to be supportive of Yandy and basically stop being so jealous. Okay, because it be your own spouse. And I feel like he doesn't feel like he's where he needs to be. So now he has a chip on his shoulder because Yandy is doing her thing. That's my assessment of it. So Mandisi got mad and he's like, listen, I came in here because I thought I was going to get some clarity on some things, but now I'm feeling double teamed. So Yandy said, I think he feels like if he builds me up, I'll get too big headed and I'll leave him. He said, absolutely not. You're absolutely wrong. Absolutely not right. I'm like, did you absolutely just learn how to say absolutely? Boy, okay. And he was like, those are not the facts. And Yandy was like, I could get an award from the most prestigious black organization and he'll just be like, congrats, yo, instead of actually giving me a congratulations. And he was like, I don't even talk like that. That is absolutely not true. You're sitting here saying that I don't give you compliments, and that's a lie. So then he said, listen, I'm ready for this scene to be over. I'm like, oh, child, not this scene, honey. It's the acting for me, child. Not I'm ready for this scene to be over. Sometimes Mandisi acts like a little kid. But to his defense, Yandy is the perfection queen, and it's hard for him to really measure up. So he kind of looks like a flunky next to Yandy and her accomplishments, okay? So then he walks off, and they said 15 minutes later, she convinced him to return. AJ said, this is what I'm getting. Both of y'all are actually saying the same thing. You're mad because she didn't send you emails. She's mad about the compliments. And it's like you're saying the same thing, but different. So this is what you need to have more of, and this is what you need to work on. Patience, communication, and consideration. Ooh, child. And communication is definitely one of the biggest ones. And stop being jealous of your woman, honey. This should be your motivation. You should want to level up so that you match her fly instead of breaking her down. Child, see, this is why I'm by myself, honey, making it happen for myself. And then when I find that king that compliments me and it's not my competition, He's complimentary, not competition. Honey, can we get that on the t-shirt? Yes, okay. In the next scene, and this is where the foolery starts, okay? We see Princess and Ray J. So y'all already know how this is about to go. So Princess asks Ray J why he loved her. I'm like, oh my goodness, child. Just meet with AJ one last time and ask your questions there. Oh, so she said, we have our highs and lows, but I want to make sure before we go into this final meeting that, I don't let my guard down completely and then he still be on some bull. This is basically what she wanted to say. So she said, are you here for us or are you here for something else? He said, I love you. You're the mother of my kids. A woman doesn't want to hear that. He was like, you're the chosen one. You're the sacred one. Ray J, you never give a direct answer. What she's trying to understand is, do you love her for her or are you holding on to her because you don't want to break your family up and you're just there for the kids? Because nobody wants to hear, I'm just with you for the kids. Because the way that y'all spew like insults at each other and tear each other down, child, I feel for those kids in that house. Because if y'all are arguing like this, which Princess did say before y'all start going off in the comments, you can't say the kid. Princess said in this episode that this is how their arguments go. And I know these kids aren't locked in a basement. I know they can hear and see and feel the toxicity in the air. I know they can feel it. Kids pick up on everything, okay? So she said, well, if I'm the sacred one, then why do you leave me in the house with the kids for days on end? He said, because you talk crazy to me and you call me out of my name. She said, you call me a bitch, okay? He said, you call me stupid. Oh, then Ray J was like, well, people don't argue like that. She said, I would rather you call me a bee than go to Vegas. Wow. I mean, just wow. I mean, I know y'all think I was going to have a punchline or say something, but the answer, the response is wow. Like, just to sit here and hear her say, I would rather you demean me than leave me. That's insane. Princess, honey, okay, child. I mean, of course, we all going to say the standard thing, you need therapy. But you guys need to be apart from each other and apart ASAP. Not together in the slightest. Because this is ridiculous. And then he says, well, you just go from 0 to 100 real quick. And I'm not understanding why you get so aggravated with me. The thing is, you've cheated on her and browbeat her for so long. And now she kind of hates you a little bit. She can't let it go. She resents you big time. That's the better word to say. She resents you. She doesn't know how to let it go. So she's asking you and grasping at your answers to see if that'll make her change her mind. It might make her change her mind, but that's not going to change your heart, Princess. You're going to have to find out what makes Princess happy. Because y'all can't stay together for these kids, honey. It's just not working. And you are not absolutely innocent in this either. No man wants to be emasculated and have him, and you're calling him out of his name and calling him stupid, telling him to go to his room. You can't play those games, because then when it's given back to you, men don't know how to fight fair. Okay? So then when he calls you out of your name, now we're here. Y'all really need to, oh my goodness. So they continue to argue, and he's like, look, we can't be together if you're going to keep calling me out my name. She said, okay, then we can't be together. He's like, okay, cool. Then we can't be together. She's like, oh, I'm great. I'm happy about that. That's not the truth. You two are arguing over something that makes absolutely no sense. So then she gets up and slams the door. Child, I know it's holes all in the walls up in there. Child, they probably be, oh my goodness. It's just a mess. Over in the next scene, Kirk and his business partner, Rashida, show up to talk to AJ, right? So AJ was like, so what's been new? What's been going on? So Kirk said, we've been learning about 15 ways, for a woman to, because, Kirk, you are too big, grown, and old to be sitting up here talking about, I mean, just use another word if you don't want to say, okay, just say, we learned about 15 different ways for a woman to orgasm. Child, if your vocabulary consists of 3 sentences and 3 words and 3 syllable words, just say that, honey. So then AJ was like, just say it. 15 different ways for a woman to come on by, child. So Kirk said, she's like, so is there anything that you want to say about your contract or anything that needs to happen? So Kirk said, I just don't want her to bring up the past. AJ said, are we doing that? Rashida said, yeah, it's normal for me to bring up the past. I mean, look at all I've been through. She said she does need to stop doing that, though, because she said she forgave him. So she wants to work on not bringing up the past if she's going to forgive him. AJ commended her for taking accountability. But then they started saying the 7-year-old is still sleeping in the room. And I said, what now? Child, I'm not about to play with y'all. Kirk don't want that boy out. He was like, well, he's my king. He needs to stay in the bed. What man wants his child to sleep in between him and his wife? Let me tell you something. When my baby was a newborn, I would co-sleep. I know that's not the right thing to do, but I just wanted my baby next to me. I was that paranoid as a new mom. And my husband at the time used to be like, he gonna have to go in the crib. Okay, and I'm like, don't even touch me anyway, because I'm tired from getting up with him. You ain't doing nothing, but at the same time, he still didn't want the baby in the bed. I'm single right now. I sleep in the bed alone. I don't let my son sleep in the bed with me, and I do that because I don't want to create bad habits. Now, every now and again, when there's a bad storm or he has a nightmare, he will come and get in the bed with me. As soon as he falls asleep, I put him back in his bed. Child, you're not about to sleep in here with me, honey. One day I might get a man and get it popping. Over on the other side, Ray J and Princess still arguing. Oh. So he's telling her, go to your hole. Go to your hole. And she's like, that ugly ass t-shirt you're wearing. I'm like, what is this, high school? He's like, you're not getting anything either. I'm keeping the 50. She's like, oh, okay. Well, then I won't film anymore, and I'll be getting that 50K every month. He's like, oh, yeah, you'll definitely get it every month. And then he said something, and they blurred it out. I don't know what he said. She called him a derogatory term, which I will not be repeating. And they're calling each other all kinds of names. Oh, my goodness. And you're threatening to keep her money? Like half of the show you didn't even participate in. See, this is just pure ignorance. I always get something in writing. And then you didn't even get a prenup. I bet you wish you would have listened to your mama now, huh? Child, oh, my goodness. This is just too much. So she was like, I'm not filming. He said, good. She said, oh, well, I'll be getting that every month, so it's okay. He agreed. Then he called her a stupid bitch. Okay, I'm like, oh my gosh, why would you call? So you just sat here and said you love her because she's the mother of your child, but then you sit in the same breath and call her a stupid female dog. Okay, honey, and you have a daughter? Oh, okay. She said your mom's a bitch. Okay, and then Princess tells them she's not doing any more promo with him. I'm not doing any more shooting. I'm not doing anything with him. He said, you don't control the edit. It's not in your contract. Ray J is an ass, honey. And I see why she gets so furious with him, because he tries to control her and manipulate her with the small things. This is just too much. They only need to speak to each other when absolutely necessary. They need to learn how to argue, because y'all are not even arguing about the issue. You're now just tearing each other up and spitting out insults. What are we even arguing about? Like, you know, I went to therapy with my first husband, and the therapist told us that we were only allowed to speak to each other for 15 minutes a day, and it had to be positive. It kind of changed the way that we spoke to each other, because when you only, you know, it takes 2 weeks to create a habit or to break a bad habit. And after 2 weeks of only speaking to each other for 15 minutes a day and only saying something positive, it actually changed the way that we spoke to each other. But by this time, too much damage had been done. I was ready to run for the hills, okay? But that exercise really did help us. And also, she taught us how to argue, because there is a correct way to argue with your spouse. You can disagree, but disagree about the subject matter at hand. Like you calling her ugly and stupid, and she calling you ignorant and dumb, and go to your room and go to your hole and all this. Like, y'all need to cut that out. It's just some AJ, honey, I don't know what you doing, but it ain't working. Okay. Over on the other side, Radha and Mike, they show up to tell AJ that, you know, she's pregnant. And so she's like, oh, okay, so now we have a baby in this open relationship. Yes, AJ, we do, child. So she was like, what do you want out of it? So she said, I want more of communication and a ring. Honey, ain't gonna happen, Captain. I can tell you that right now. Michael said, you know, I have lied to every woman that I've been with, and I have actually been honest with her. And he said, I don't mind cutting back. He said, but I don't want to just end the contract. So he said, when I'm getting into it, as I'm getting into it, she likes to FaceTime me. Child, not y'all having a virtual threesome. Not a COVID-safe threesome. Child, I'm done. Oh, my goodness. This show. He said, it's the least I can do because she allows me to do this. And she just sitting there smiling. I'm convinced it's something missing. Honey, it's something wrong with her. Okay, I didn't really see it up until right then, but it is clearly something missing. It's a few marbles just rolling around there. Yeah, it's something missing. Okay, so this is just a mess. She said, yeah, you know, I know that a man has needs and my stomach will probably get big. It will, honey. That's pretty much how it works when you have a baby. It gets big. She's like, and he's not gonna be able to find my stuff, and I don't want to hurt the baby because he is big. Okay, that's TMI. Okay, just a little bit of TMI. AJ is sitting there looking at them like, all I can say is congrats. Okay. Over on the other side, we see Princess and Ray J doing a little bit of a confessional. Princess says she's going to go to the dinner, and Ray J said, I'm not trying to fake it. So I don't know if he's going to show up to the dinner or not. Okay, because this is just a mess, a pure D mess. Raymond and Delicious, they show up, okay, for their last one-on-one with AJ. And Raymond said, he wanted more words of affirmation. And Delicious said, I do that. She said, look, Raymond doesn't do much. And when he takes out the trash, he thinks that he needs a round of applause. I'm not going to applaud you for things that you should be doing. And I definitely agree with that. That's like when people say, oh, my husband is watching the kids. Or can you watch your kids? They're your kids. Or when they want a round of applause for sitting with the kids while you run to the grocery store. Or do something that'll help you feel better about yourself. That's what you're supposed to do. You're their parent as well. Child, so he want a round of applause for taking the trash out. And she's like, listen, I understand why he wants that nurturing side because his mom passed away while he was in jail. And I really did feel for him in this moment because it has to be tough. You're in jail for something that you didn't even do and your mom passes away. I was like, oh, honey. But Delicious was like, listen, I want a man. So then she went back into the spiel about her having to be the head of her household for so long. And when she married Raymond, she was expecting for him to come in and do things that men do. And Raymond said, I know that I take advantage of her being a nurturer. And I know she's tired of wanting to teach me, but certain things I just didn't know. And she was stronger in that area. So I wanted her to teach me those things. But I do need to step up and learn how to be the husband because now she wants to sit back and just be the wife. So the fact that he understood that means that you know good and well what to do. So let's get to it, Raymond. Child. Raymond said, but what he's looking for is he's looking for her to appreciate the changes that he does make. And that was their little session. Okay, honey, appreciate the changes and don't expect a round of applause for you getting up and putting the toilet seat down. Okay, we got it. The couples have one final couples dinner. Rashida was like, we had a good time. Kirk was like, this is the most time we spent together ever. In 21 years, this is the most time y'all have spent together alone ever. It's something wrong with that. I'm just going to leave it there. Yandy said, me and Mandisi are just in awe of the two of you. And we just are so happy that y'all stuck it out. Honey, Yandy just be saying anything. Child, let's move forward. Then she starts crying. And Yandy was like, child, because once again, it's the acting for me. She's like, everybody wants me to just leave him. And I'm like, I love him, but I love him. I love everything about him. Okay, Yandy, we got it. So then Kirk gonna say, everybody got their opinion because our relationship is public, but try being together 21 years and then talk to me. Okay, well, I ain't been together 21 years, but honey, I don't want to do 21 years of suffrage. So if I got to go through 21 years of cheating, emotional and mental abuse, then I'm good on that. And if you decide to put your things out into the public, honey, we will have an opinion. Kirk, anyway, child. So as they're all sharing, Michael ends up saying that Radha is pregnant. He shares it with the group because he's like, look, we're friends with these people. We've exchanged numbers. I've been keeping a secret. Radha is pregnant. Everybody was happy for them. But then Princess gonna say, is this a joke? No, Princess, it's real, girl. So they're all sharing. And Michael got a little bit emotional. And they were like, are you crying? He was like, nah, I'm not crying. I'm a thug. Baby, because I'm a thug. Okay, shout out to Trick Daddy. Well, listen, even Tupac cried, so it's okay, honey. Okay, and he was the biggest thug you ever wanted to see. So if Tupac can cry, then you can go ahead and cry. Ray J gets up and goes by the fire saying he's cold, honey, and saying that he can't fake it anymore because he wants attention, as always. So then we see Princess kind of whispering to Yandy, letting her know that her and Ray J are back at square one. So Yandy was like, are there any highlights? Kirk said, well, I have some scary lights. The Ring of Fire was one. As Ray J is sitting over there by the fire, Ray J's like, my heart is just breaking for my kids. Well, y'all need to be, y'all just be decent. Simple as that. Be decent to each other. Have some respect at the base of everything. Just be decent. And what I'm getting from Ray J is this: he doesn't want to be with Princess anymore. He just doesn't. He's only with her for those kids. He saw his mom and dad raise two beautiful children. Shout out to Brandy. And they've had a family unit, and that's what he's trying to mimic. But you and Princess are toxic. It's okay to let it go and co-parent in two different households. It's okay, because listen, it's better to have two whole parents than to have two parents falling apart while trying to be whole under one roof. I'm letting you know from experience. So Princess said, one thing that we can agree on is that we love our kids. And AJ was right. It may be better to just co-parent than to be together. So Yandy wants each person to write on a balloon what they want to release. So Mandisi was like, you know what? Let me help you with that. Let me get up and get that for you. I'm like, okay, Mandisi, honey. And I don't talk about it later. You decided to do this, so don't start crying about it later. Princess was like, I'm tired of doing exercises by myself. This is the final exercise. So I'm going to be the bigger person, and I'm going to go over to Ray. So she goes over to him. Girl, that balloon ain't going to help y'all act right. Okay, too much damage has been done. But she goes over to him. She grabs his hand, and she asks him to meet her over there to do the exercise. So they walk over. Everybody starts clapping. Child, this is just, okay. And so they say what they wrote on their balloon. Yandy said they wrote the past, bitterness and anger. They want to release that. Kirk said, judgment and blame. Radha said fear, and Mike said, I'm going to release some of these side chicks. I can't stand him. And then Delicious and Ray said, we're going to release public opinion. She said, we do like the public, okay, but we don't think that we're not going to live for you guys. Just because you have an opinion doesn't mean we're going to listen to it. And Ray J and Princess put pain. And that's a wrap, honey. That is season 1 of Couples Retreat. I actually enjoyed this show. I tell y'all that every week. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was lighthearted. Y'all know I love some foolery. And we'll see if they get picked up for a season 2 with all new couples. It was like a hood version of Marriage Boot Camp. Child, I hope y'all like this. Subscribe, comment down below. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.